What if the world government lied about the D clan for 800 years? Because the more you examine the will of D, the less it looks like a bloodline. Giants carry it. Humans carry it. Completely unrelated families possess it across the entire world. And that creates a massive contradiction. Because if the D clan was truly one family, then how does a giant like Jaguar D Saul exist? Unless the D was never inherited through blood to begin with, what if the will of D was actually an ancient alliance, forged during the Void Century by Joy Boy himself? A revolutionary pact created to unite every race in the world and eventually destroy the Red Line. Because if this theory is true, then Monkey D. Luffy, Monkey D. Dragon, Gol D. Roger, Trafalgar D. Law, Marshall D. Teach, and even Rox D. Xebec are not descendants of the same family. They are inheritors of the same ancient promise. A promise the world government has spent 800 years trying to erase. For years, fans assumed the D clan was simply a hidden bloodline. But when you actually examine every known member of the D family, that explanation starts falling apart. Because these people have almost nothing in common biologically. Roger, Luffy, Dragon, Teach, Law, Rouge, Saul, Xebec, different nations, different personalities, different ambitions, different races, and yet somehow they all carry the exact same forbidden initial. Now here's where things become strange. Jaguar D. Saul is a giant, not a human, which immediately creates a massive inconsistency. How could one human bloodline naturally spread across completely different races over 800 years while remaining hidden from the world government? It doesn't make sense, unless the D was never genetic to begin with. And suddenly, everything changes. Because instead of looking at D as a family, we should be looking at it as a symbol, a mark, an oath, a shared ideology inherited across generations, not through blood, but through will. To understand the will of D, we need to understand the ancient kingdom. According to the world government, the Void Century was erased because the ancient kingdom became too dangerous. But what if their real threat was not technology? What if their real threat was unity? Think about the structure of the One Piece world. Every major race is separated. Humans, fishmen, giants, minks, Skypians. The world itself is physically divided by the Red Line and the Grand Line. Everything about this planet was designed to isolate people from one another. And then comes Joy Boy, a figure directly connected to liberation, freedom, and bringing people together. The same themes represented by Sun God Nika. What if Joy Boy's true dream was not just freedom, but the reunification of the entire world? And what if the ancient kingdom created a secret alliance between races to achieve that goal? An alliance represented by a single initial, D, not a surname, a declaration. One of the most important lines in all of One Piece is when the Gorosei refer to the D clan as the enemies of the gods. But think about that statement carefully. Why would the celestial dragons fear random descendants? Why would an initial terrify the rulers of the world for 800 years? Because the D clan does not represent genetics. It represents rebellion against divine authority itself. The celestial dragons call themselves gods. So naturally, the people opposing them would become the enemies of gods. And suddenly, the will of D begins to resemble something much bigger than family inheritance. It becomes ideological inheritance. An ancient revolutionary will pass between generations. This also explains why the government never fully erased the D clan. Because you cannot erase an idea. You can destroy kingdoms. You can burn books. You can erase history. But inherited will survives through people. That is one of the central messages of One Piece itself. And no character embodies this better than Luffy. Luffy may not even realize it, but throughout the entire story, he has been unconsciously rebuilding Joy Boy's original coalition. Think about every major ally Luffy has made. Humans, fishmen, giants, minks, samurai, former enemies, revolutionaries. Wherever Luffy goes, barriers between people collapse. That is not normal. That is inherited will in action. Even Mihawk noticed this during Marineford. Luffy's greatest power is not strength. It is his ability to make people stand beside him. And what if that was Joy Boy's true power too? Not domination, unity. This is where the giant connection becomes incredibly important. Because if D was originally a pact between races, then Jaguar D Saul is proof that the alliance included giants from the very beginning. Which perfectly connects to Elbaf, a nation obsessed with warrior pride, honor, and freedom. What if Elbaf was once one of Joy Boy's strongest allies during the Void Century War? And what if the giants inherited D not through blood, but through allegiance? Now we reach the most terrifying possibility. What if the original purpose of the D Alliance was to destroy the Red Line itself? This sounds insane at first, but the deeper you look into One Piece, the more it fits. Destroying the Red Line would unite the seas, create the All Blue, connect isolated races, eliminate geographic oppression. It would literally reunite the world into one ocean, one piece. And suddenly countless mysteries begin connecting together. Fishman Island's prophecy, Joy Boy's promise, ancient weapons, the Noah, the dawn of the world. Everything points toward a future where the barriers dividing humanity finally disappear. Which means the world government's greatest fear is not pirates. It is reunification. Because their power depends entirely on division. Now here's where the theory becomes even deeper. Because not every D carrier became the same kind of person. In fact, they represent completely different interpretations of the ancient will, starting with Gol D Roger. Roger learned the truth of the world. He discovered Laugh-Tale. He uncovered Joy Boy's story. And yet, he did not start the final war. Why? Because he realized humanity was still too early. That's why he laughed. Not because the truth was meaningless, but because history itself was waiting for the right inheritor. The one Roger was waiting for was Luffy. But then we have Trafalgar Law. Unlike Luffy, Law does not represent emotional liberation. He represents truth, knowledge, discovery. Corazon specifically told Law that people carrying D are hated by the gods, meaning the secret of D was already known within hidden circles. Law's role may be to uncover the true history behind the Alliance itself. And then there is Monkey D. Dragon, the most wanted criminal in the world. Unlike Luffy, Dragon does not simply seek freedom. He seeks to destroy the system controlling the world itself, which becomes incredibly important if the original D Alliance was revolutionary in nature. Because the Revolutionary Army mirrors the exact same pattern. Different races, different nations, united under one shared purpose. Humans, giants, fishmen, former kings, rebels. An army not connected by blood, but by ideology. The exact same pattern the ancient kingdom may have created 800 years ago. Then comes the most dangerous D carrier of all, Marshal D. Teach. Blackbeard completely changes the meaning of inherited will. Because while Luffy liberates people, Teach consumes everything around him. Freedom becomes greed. Ambition becomes domination. And this proves something terrifying. The will of D is not automatically good. It simply amplifies those capable of changing the world, which means the ancient pact could create heroes or monsters. And then there is Rox D. Xebec, possibly the clearest example of corrupted revolutionary ambition. Rox wanted to challenge the Celestial Dragons directly. He opposed the world order. But unlike Joy Boy, his methods were rooted in conquest, which makes Rox feel like a failed version of the Dawn itself. A warning about what happens when liberation loses its humanity. And now suddenly the final conflict of One Piece becomes obvious. Luffy and Teach are not just rivals, they are the final split of the will of D. Two outcomes born from the same ancient fire. Throughout One Piece, one word appears constantly. Dawn, the dawn of the world, the coming dawn, the people waiting for dawn. But dawn only appears after darkness ends, meaning the world of One Piece has been trapped in symbolic night for 800 years. The world government created that darkness, and the D-Clan exists to end it, not as rulers, not as conquerors, but as the people who will reconnect the world itself. That is why the Celestial Dragons fear them, because if the barriers separating races disappear, their entire hierarchy collapses. No gods. No chosen bloodlines. No divine rulers above humanity, just one united world. Exactly what Joy Boy originally wanted. And this brings us to the most chilling possibility of all. What if Joy Boy knew he would fail? What if the ancient kingdom understood they could not win the war during the Void Century? Then their final plan would not be survival. It would be inheritance. Scattering the will of D across the world, through humans, through giants, through different nations, through future generations. Not preserving a family, preserving a revolution. Because eventually, those inheritors would find each other again. Roger discovered the truth too early. Rocks twisted it. Teach corrupted it. Law investigates it. Dragon fights against it. But Luffy may finally fulfill it. Not because he is the strongest, but because he embodies the original dream better than anyone else alive. Freedom, unity, liberation, the dawn. And if this theory is true, then the will of D was never about one family surviving history. It was about ensuring that no matter how much darkness ruled the world, someone would always rise to challenge the gods. And maybe that is the true tragedy of the Void Century. The world government thought they had won. They destroyed the ancient kingdom, erased the history, silenced the truth, separated the races of the world. But they failed to erase one thing: will. Because for 800 years, the will of D continued spreading through pirates, revolutionaries, warriors, scholars, giants, and dreamers, waiting for the moment the world would finally be ready for the dawn. And now, for the first time since Joy Boy himself, all the pieces are beginning to reconnect. Elbath, the ancient weapons, the final war, the Red Line, Imu, Nika, the Revolutionary Army. Everything is converging toward the same ending, a united world. And maybe that is why the Celestial Dragons fear the D Clan so much. Not because they are descendants of an ancient family, but because they are descendants of an ancient idea. An idea that can never truly die. But what do you guys think? Was the will of D always meant to unite every race in the world? Or is there still an even deeper secret hidden behind the dawn itself? And which D carrier do you think truly represents Joy Boy's original will? Luffy, Dragon, Roger, Law, or even Blackbeard? Comment your theories below. And if you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more deep One Piece Final Saga theories every week. Because the closer we get to the ending of One Piece, the more dangerous the truth becomes.